introduce Dr. Stacy Bosley, who will introduce our keynote speaker. Stacy?
Thank you, Bill. And thanks to Dean Jervis, the College of New Jersey, and especially Bill for all the tireless work in helping to make this conference happen again this year. I think it's really incredible that this is free and accessible to everyone around the world who's interested in these issues. It is my pleasure to introduce Bonnie Patton, our keynote speaker for today. Bonnie did her undergraduate studies at the University of Pennsylvania and earned her JD at Boston University. She worked as a litigation attorney for many years and then became the executive director and co-founder of Truth in Advertising, or TINA.org, which was founded in 2012. TINA is a nonprofit organization working to fight against deceptive marketing practices on all their forms. Some of the areas of focus include deception in made in the USA marketing, negative option offers, product claims, influencer marketing, earnings claims, among many other areas. Bonnie was awarded the Consumer Leadership Award from the National Consumers League in 2019 for her work in this area. And she has co-authored or solo authored multiple scholarly articles, including the one that she's going to talk to us about today about self-regulation in multi-level marketing. And we are very pleased to welcome Bonnie to give our keynote address today.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Bosley, for that kind introduction and all the great work that you're doing. And thank you to Dr. Keep and the College of New Jersey School of Business for hosting this conference. There's much that I'd like to cover this morning, so let me get right to it. More than 50 years ago, the National Trade Association for the Direct Selling Industry, known as the Direct Selling Association, or DSA, established a code of ethics, which it describes as a robust series of policies that protect independent salespeople and consumers. This self-regulatory code has been touted by the DSA as a set of stringent guidelines for earning representation and product claims. The association frequently states as follows: the DSA has continually asserted that it takes a hardline stance on mandating code adherence, and over the years has repeatedly used the existence of the code as a shield to deflect criticism. Here's Tom Donahue, former president and CEO of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, explaining how the DSA Code of Ethics solved issues of deception in a 2013 DSA video.
Years ago, the direct selling industry in the United States faced a problem. And the problems were companies that were not playing by the rules. Same thing that's happened then around the world. The industry stepped up, created its own code of ethics, created training and programs, demanded people play by those rules or not be accredited or not be accepted in their associations here and around the world. And the results speak for themselves.
Those results include DSA member company Vima settling FTC charges alleging that it was a pyramid scheme in 2016. At that time, the DSA issued a press release stating, "Every member of DSA is required to abide by DSA's Code of Ethics as a condition of membership. There are no exceptions to the rule." In 2017, when former DSA member company Legal Shield criticized the association for harboring pyramid schemes, the DSA shot back that we are always working to strengthen our code of ethics and the transparency of actions taken to enforce it. When MLM clothing LuLaRoe was sued for being a pyramid scheme by the state of Washington in 2019, the DSA's president made a statement saying, "Sadly, not all companies in the direct selling channel are DSA members, and non-members like LuLaRoe do not accept, as members are obliged to, the requirements of DSA membership, and our code. And this year, after the release of the docuseries LuLaRoe, the DSA president tried to distance DSA companies from non-members like LuLaRoe, stating, "The DSA requires all DSA members to adhere to the stringent DSA Code of Ethics." Unfortunately, the DSA's rhetoric does not and never has aligned with how its member companies operate. In 2016, Tina.org began an examination of DSA member companies' compliance with truth in advertising laws. Within 2 years, we had cataloged more than 5,000 examples from more than 130 DSA member companies using deceptive marketing claims in violation of the Code of Ethics. Since then, Tina.org has continued to collect thousands of examples of DSA member companies violating advertising laws. Here's just one example.
And there are more women making over 6 figures a year than any other company.
I've been in Mary Kay for 16 months. I was making a 6-figure income at the age of 24.
She tells me that she made $9,000 in 1 month just from squirting tubes.
2.5 years later, after starting my business, I was able to leave my full-time job because I had doubled my income.
1 year after signing my agreement, I was able to walk away from that corporate job.
A year later, I was able to quit my full-time job.
These are the kind of data Tina.org has collected over the past 9 years, which makes it readily apparent that the DSA Code of Ethics has been used to give the appearance of self-policing, while the trade association has instead served the private interests of its members at the public's expense. Despite the fact that the DSA boasts that its Code of Ethics ensures standards of conduct more stringent than the law, for years, member companies have maximized their profits by violating advertising laws while simultaneously touting the benefits of the Code of Ethics.
The Code of Ethics is the foundation of DSA and the key to what differentiates DSA member companies from others.
It truly is the backbone of being a part of the association. When you have a Code of Ethics and you post it on your website, that's just like having a gold seal, a gold standard of how business should be done.
It shows the marketplace that we stand for a very high level of consumer protection.
In 2016, Tina.org investigated those gold standard DSA member companies that were selling nutritional supplements and found that 97% were making claims that the company's products could treat, cure, prevent, alleviate the symptoms of, or reduce the risk of developing diseases or disorders. Deceptive marketing claims included being able to cure cancer, prevent HIV/AIDS, and treat Alzheimer's, among others. At that time, Tina.org cataloged more than 2,000 instances of such inappropriate health claims over 60 DSA member companies and notified each of them, as well as the DSA and its ethics code administrator. The next year, The next year, 2017, Tina.org investigated how DSA member companies marketed their business opportunities. The inquiry revealed that more than 97% of DSA member companies were making deceptive earnings claims to recruit distributors and convince low-level distributors to stay with the companies. Claims range from being able to obtain financial freedom, being able to quit your day job, stay home with your children, and make unlimited income. TINA.org cataloged more than 3,000 examples of DSA member companies and their distributors making atypical earnings claims on their website and social media channels, and notified each of the companies, as well as the DSA and its ethics code administrator. To date, no public action has ever been taken by the DSA or its code administrator against any company highlighted by a TINA.org investigation. Although companies have taken down or modified inappropriate claims identified by TINA.org over time, the response to external pressure has not resulted in any transformative change in the way that these companies recruit or market their products and services. In fact, not only has the DSA and its member companies been unresponsive to third-party pressures to change their overall deceptive marketing tactics, but they have staunchly guarded their own vested interest in preserving the status quo, even in the face of repeated complaints. Unwilling to fulfill its theoretical promise of legal compliance within its own ranks and facing mounting scrutiny, the DSA announced at the beginning of 2019 the establishment of a new third-party, independent, self-regulatory entity known as the Direct Selling Self-Regulatory Council, or DSSRC, to be administered by the Council of Better Business Bureau. Here's how the director of the DSSRC explained it on a BBB National Programs podcast.
There's this industry consumer advocacy organization called Truth in Advertising, kind of better known as TINA, that issued this report in 2017 on product and income claims in the direct selling industry. So I think the report, while it may have overreached somewhat, the real utility of the report was that it really galvanized the thought leaders in this industry and helped them recognize that they had to proactively address some of these issues. You know, it was interesting, Mary, on the heels of this report from TINA, then acting FTC Chair Maureen Olhausen addressed the Direct Selling Association in November 2017 and strongly encouraged the industry to consider what you were talking about, effective third-party self-regulation. And this was definitely a real seminal moment. And, you know, there was some written guidance for the MLM industry that was published by the FTC right on the heels of that report that really helped frame some of these issues that could be addressed in the context of meaningful, independently administered self-regulation. So it was really the sequence of events which led to the creation of the Direct Selling Self-Regulatory Council, or DSSRC.
The council is exclusively funded by the DSA, but the DSSRC was created to monitor claims disseminated by the entire US direct selling industry, not just DSA members. Limited in scope and resources, the DSSRC only examines income claims and products claims. Because of the overwhelming failure of the DSA and its code administrator to enforce adherence to the law by member companies, the industry environment into which the DSSRC has entered is one in which direct selling companies are collectively using deceptive marketing to pursue their own self-interest at the expense of consumers and the public good. As such, it appears that, much like the DSA Code of Ethics, the council was created by the DSA to shield the industry from further scrutiny rather than to increase accountability or protect consumers from deception. A TINA.org analysis of the first 30 months of this new self-regulatory program in action further supports this contention. This is not to say that there are no benefits to this new self-reg entity. The speed of action, elimination of deceptive claims, and flexibility in addressing changing market circumstances exemplify the positives of the DSSRC. Yet, a more thorough analysis reveals that these positive attributes have been tarnished by a flawed process and an industry that simply is not committed to self-regulation. Since April 2019, when the DSSRC began monitoring direct selling practices and accepting complaints from outside sources, there have only been 3 sources for investigations. A single complaint filed by an MLM company after it was the recipient of a DSSRC inquiry, 10 complaints filed by Tina.org, and the rest, more than 96%, resulting from the DSSRC's own self-monitoring. In my opinion, the failure of the industry to police its own ranks demonstrates that the industry is not invested in using this new program to promote the well-being of the public at large. While MLMs will not hesitate to sue one another when it comes to issues relating to distributor poaching, and direct selling companies have no problem filing lawsuits against their own distributors, the industry's apparent refusal to out those responsible for deceptive marketing tactics is telling. The most likely rationale? MLMs simply aren't willing to regulate their own behavior, adhering to the proverb, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. It is possible to quantify the industry's lack of participation in the self-regulatory process because the DSSRC provides the source for each of its inquiries in its published decisions. However, this is where transparency with the process ends. As of October 2021, 80% of DSSRC investigations ended in what it terms administrative closures, which neither disclose the name of the culpable company nor specifically identify the inappropriate marketing material. As a result, the vast majority of wrongdoers identified by the DSSRC are never subject to any sort of a public accountability, which runs counter to the council's stated mission and must negatively impact consumer and governmental confidence in this self-regulatory process. According to the DSSRC, it issues these secretive closure decisions if the direct selling company in its initial response commits to discontinue or significantly modify the claims at issue. This glaring design defect in the process permits wrongdoers to remain anonymous, regardless of how egregious or pervasive their misconduct may have been. At a minimum, there should be a requirement of public disclosure of legal breaches and the corresponding potential of adverse publicity, regardless of how quickly an MLM company may cover its tracks after being caught. Not surprisingly, this tactic of rewarding fast actors with non-disclosure deals has done nothing to persuade the industry to comply with truth in advertising laws. Moreover, it is conceivable that this lack of transparency was baked into the program by the DSA to serve as a cloak for the discriminatory treatment of non-DSA member companies in an attempt to advantageously distinguish DSA companies from non-members in this highly competitive industry. The criteria for issuing an administrative closure, committing to discontinue or significantly modify claims at issue, provides the council with tremendous discretion in determining when secretive closures are appropriate. Of all the inquiries opened by the DSSRC between January 2019 and July 2021, 64% were of DSA member companies. However, of the case decisions published between January 2019 and October 2021, in which the direct selling company is publicly disclosed, DSA members accounted for only 18% of these decisions. These data suggest, at a minimum, that the DSSRC subjectively believes that most DSA member companies under investigation are more willing to do the right thing in order to avoid public exposure than are non-DSA member companies, even though there is no evidence to support such a belief. For an industry that has been marred by its inability to comply with the law, direct selling would benefit from rigorous and remedial oversight. However, the DSSRC provides a weak form of self-regulatory accountability. In addition to problems with transparency, the council has no ability to issue any sort of penalties or restrictions. It doesn't even have the power to expel member companies from the DSA if they refuse to adhere to the law or violate the Code of Ethics. Although the DSSRC was created to both signify and facilitate compliance with the law, with no legal or binding force, it can be and is ignored by much of the industry. The only weapon the DSSRC has to entice companies to comply with the law is the threat of referral to government agencies, which has generally been the FTC. To date, the council has referred 16 MLMs to the FTC. Notably, none of them are DSA member companies. Moreover, the FTC has yet to publicly pursue any DSSRC referral. And as a result of this inaction, it appears that more companies faced with the threat of are defying the council and playing the odds that the FTC will do nothing. That said, it is important to note that to date, the vast majority of companies have engaged with the DSSRC. Nevertheless, there is no reason to believe that DSSRC engagement by companies caught and identified by the council is any assurance that these MLMs will comply with the law in the future. Of the 50 companies reported in case decisions published as of October 2021, all of them that remained in business as direct selling companies continued to engage in deceptive marketing after their DSSRC case was closed. Here's a video Tina.org made after one such DSSRC case decision.
With 1,710,000 Miss Crystal Bowles. With $124,963, Miss Jen Kelly. Nikki Hughes. With $106,497, Miss Kate Berry.
Right now, my override checks are more money than people actually make in an entire year. I make it in a month.
So I replaced my full-time income my first year with Pure Romance.
Living the dream is being able to pay your daughter's student loan.
Provide for them. You know, we're taking some amazing vacations because of Pure Romance.
Pure Romance spoils us. They take really good care of us.
My husband and I were purchasing a home, and we're actually having it built and customized just the way we want, and it's all because of Pure Romance.
It's my understanding that at the behest of the DSSRC, Pure Romance did ultimately take down these deceptive income claims. But these ongoing violations support the contention that recurrences are the rule and not the exception. With the industry primarily focused on advancing its own self-interests, it appears to be using the DSSRC to counter charges of wrongdoing as it simultaneously attempts to ward off more meaningful industry oversight. Let me provide you with a more recent example. Earlier this year, Tina.org investigated Arizona-based MLM company Forever Living and identified almost 6,000 atypical income claims being used to promote the MLM's business opportunity, all published by this multi-billion-dollar DSA member company and its high-level executives. Marketing claims range from being able to earn a full-time income, achieve financial freedom, travel the world, quit one's job, and provide for one's family during a pandemic. Right on its website, the company tells consumers that starting a business with Forever gives you the potential to earn a significant income stream, have time and freedom to build your life according to your dreams, and allows you the flexibility to start part-time and build a full-time income. The company reiterates such claims in Google ads, on various social media platforms, on its mobile app, in promotional booklets, and at various events and rallies. Forever Living makes these deceptive income claims despite the fact that 89% of its distributors do not receive any meaningful compensation or earnings. The compilation of thousands of marketing claims that violate the law highlights the fact that the DSA Code of Ethics operates merely as window dressing for companies like Forever Living to hide behind as they manipulate consumers and distributors with illegal marketing tactics. Here's a clip from a Forever Living video that can be found on the company's website today.
As you build your business with Forever, you will become familiar with all of these incentives and opportunities, such as our Forever to Drive program, which can help you earn money for that brand new car. Global travel with our Eagle Manager Retreat and our Global Rally incentive. We even have a very generous Chairman's Bonus program that gives you access to tens of millions of dollars in annual rewards. This opportunity is everywhere. We sell our products in over 160 countries. Our business spans the globe and allows you to build your team wherever life takes you. The opportunity can be as big as your dreams and as rewarding as you're willing to work for. When you start your business with Forever, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Our company leadership and successful business owners are always able to provide support, training, and encouragement. We have industry-leading products and a proven record of success. We will be paying millions in bonuses next year. The only question that is left is whose name goes on that check.
Historically, Forever Living has opposed more robust regulatory oversight, telling the FTC in 2006 that we believe that a better solution is to encourage or mandate the type of procedural safeguards companies like Forever Living have implemented over the past decades. And in recent comments to the FTC concerning the agency's proposal to establish a rule outlawing the use of deceptive income claims, like you just viewed, the DSA argued that the very existence of the DSSRC should result in regulatory leniency for companies like Forever Living. In its comment, the DSA stated, the FTC could add a process whereby if a company is in an industry subject to self-regulation, then there would be an option for a safe harbor under certain prescribed circumstances, or lower damages if enforcement proceedings take place. If the DSA were truly committed to self-regulation, then it would be championing stronger and more direct regulatory accountability of the direct selling industry by the FTC, not less. This is not to say that FTC enforcement of the direct selling industry has been particularly robust or effective over the past 40 years, as deceptive marketing claims have become the norm within the industry on the agency's watch. But in the case of the direct selling industry, where rampant deception has been the industry norm, self-regulation cannot alleviate the need for government oversight and accountability. Quite to the contrary, the DSSRC will never operate effectively without a strong infusion of deterrence-based enforcement from the FTC. Scholarly research also makes clear that the FTC has a critical role to play in determining whether or not the DSSRC will ultimately be effective. Punitive enforcement, or at least the possibility of it, appears to be essential to the ultimate success of regulatory schemes that incorporate self-regulation. Research has shown that self-regulatory initiatives tend to fail in the absence of external deterrence pressures like the possibility of sanctions. Former acting FTC chair Maureen Olhausen echoed these principles when she told the DSA in 2017 that effective self-regulation, of course, takes commitment and buy-in from the industry. The FTC also has a role it can play in building up effective self-regulation. The most effective frameworks are those backstopped by robust yet judicious use of government regulatory powers. When there is the threat of government intervention, many companies are likely to join and adhere to self-regulatory principles. There can be no doubt that a rule prohibiting the use of deceptive earnings claims in marketing could have a profound impact on the direct selling industry, including a motivational impact for MLM companies to reevaluate the potential benefits of participating in a self-regulatory process. But that possibility is years away. In the meantime, the FTC's recent pivot to resurrecting its penalty offense authority, which has the potential of effectively punishing wrongdoers close to $47,000 per violation, may provide the enforcement authority necessary to exert sufficient external pressures to incentivize the industry to consider embracing potent self-regulation. As a former FTC commissioner and the current director of the Bureau of Consumer Protection explained, because civil penalties are available through the Penalty Offense Authority, this changes the calculus for firms in ways that increase compliance while reducing the need to bring enforcement actions for similar conduct over and over again. To that end, in October 2021, the FTC notified more than 630 MLM companies, including every member company of the DSA, that if they deceive or mislead consumers about potential earnings, the FTC won't hesitate to use its authority to target them with large civil penalties. If the commission follows through with its threat and takes decisive action against direct selling companies making deceptive earnings claims, the industry will have no option but to take notice and re-examine the potential benefits of participating in the self-regulatory process. Ultimately, the issue is whether the DSSRC will facilitate adherence to the law or undermine it, as the DSA Code of Ethics has historically done. What is clear is that the oversight of the direct selling industry cannot be left to its trade association. The FTC must act, and if it exacts costly penalties from MLM wrongdoers, it will not only deter others from engaging in the same conduct, but it may also motivate the industry to reconsider the possible benefits of robust and transparent self-regulation and save the DSSRC from a feudal existence. And with that, I thank you for your time, and we'll turn it back over to Dr. Keefe.
Thank you, Bonnie, and thank you for the continuing good work of Kina.org. We will now